Welcome to the PrepZone Show, presented by Bevill State. I'm your host, Johnathan Bentley, joined by my co-host, Zak McCullough. Zak, we had a week off last week. Nothing happened anyway.
No,
we didn't even
nothing
talk
at
about
all.
that.
Nothing at all happened while we were gone because someone wanted to go on vacation. So
yeah, we won't mention who.
We won't mention
a couple
who.
people,
well,
actually.
Yeah.
But all right, so we're back. We're not going to talk about the previous week's games.
No.
Were there any to talk about?
A few.
Yeah, but I mean, well, we kind of discussed them like last week's games first. But yeah, well, let's jump right in. So we had the Coleman-Jasper rivalry.
That was a fun game too.
They're always close. It seems like.
I know it. And it seems like you look here. Coleman's 14-3 in the last 17 times they played Jasper.
That doesn't seem right.
That's weird.
A game that is always that close, and you wouldn't believe it. I had to go look it up again because I was like, this can't be right. Yeah. You go 14-3 against a rival that's almost always beating you.
Right.
But they should have ended that, and again, Coleman got them in the end, and it was 21-20.
Yeah, Jasper led 20-7 in the fourth quarter, but rainy atmosphere. Jasper kind of struggled offensively in the end. Coleman took advantage. And Jasper missed a field goal as time expired, and the Bearcats won. It's
asking a lot for a kid to kick a field goal in those conditions.
Yeah, it was a 38-yard field goal, I think.
I mean, it would have been something.
I wish
he would have made it.
Yeah.
But it was miserable conditions everywhere. I think that's pretty much across the board.
That's true. I think did Lynn get a lot of rain? Maybe northern Winston County.
I think they maybe got less than. I mean, Jasper had standing water on the field, and this thing drains incredibly.
They have a very professional draining system.
Yeah, this is a great system now. It used to be very muddy over there, but not anymore. But I hate they lost that game. That really that hurt because now
ended the undefeated season.
And the region, I think that'll go a long way in the region. That could be a playoff implications in that game. Hopefully not. Maybe they bounce back this week. We also had Dora, 2 in a row for Dora.
And both of them shootouts. This game combined 100 points. They beat Hamilton 52-48.
They both had 7 touchdowns. It all came down to 2-point conversions.
That just
shows Dora got them.
2-point conversions are important. Very important.
Yeah, it was a 2-point conversion kind of night.
Yeah.
Everywhere around here.
Everyone needed a 2-point conversion.
Yes, because kicking was very difficult. And Cordova finally got a win.
That's really good. Brian Maynor, comes back to Cordova, gets his first win. This stint, they took down Curry, 32-6. Big win for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, good for them. They're in the win column. So, some other games. What do you think about Corner beating Ramsey?
That's a top 10 matchup. Ramsey was ranked 9th. Corner was 10th. Corner put on the beatdown. Well, I say a beatdown. It was kind of rainy, so low scoring was expected. 22-8. Corner won, so definitely a very impressive win.
Yeah, that was big. Ramsey was up 8-0, and then Corner just controlled the rest of the game. I was surprised. I keep doubting Corner.
Yeah, I know.
Like
you should not doubt Corner.
Every year, every week. Yeah, maybe the second I jump on board, something bad will happen. So
don't jump on board.
Yeah, not yet. So Winston County stayed undefeated, 51-8 over Red Bay.
That's an impressive win. Winston County, they and Corner are the only 2 undefeated teams left that we have. And, Red Bay just couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah. Red Bay's winless this year. They've had a down year, apparently. And Lynn beating Pickens County 6-0.
Yeah, that was an impressive win, really low scoring. But Pickens County, it's been kind of a down year for the Tornadoes, but, Pickens County's still Pickens County. Anytime you can beat them,
exactly, it's
an accomplishment.
That's 3 in a row against them.
That's right. So Lynn, a couple of weeks ago, got dismantled by Hackleburg. They seem to have turned it around.
They got the quarterback back, and maybe things are smooth again. Luckily, that Hackleburg game was non-region.
Exactly. That's very important.
So Addison, speaking about a team that's kind of turned it around, 39-8 over Cherokee is 3 in a row for Addison.
Right after Addison got demolished by Winston County first week of the season, I didn't know what to think of them. And then they turned around and beat Decatur Heritage, and they really have seemed unstoppable since. Beat Cherokee, impressive win, 39-6.
Yeah, and Meek is finally kind of like Cordova, finally in the win column.
Yeah, finally got the win. Beat Phillips Bear Creek, 37-8. So kind of lopsided.
Is there 2 Phillips? How come there's a Bear Creek?
I think there's a Phillips in Birmingham.
I think, at least maybe there used to be.
I don't know.
All right, so Hanceville, this was kind of disappointing. Blanking Carbon Hill 24-0.
Yeah, that was surprising. Hanceville has really struggled. but they were able to get in the win column. In the rain, threw the ball a lot, which was really the difference. Carbon Hill, didn't look great. So Carbon Hill's got they can turn it around, but it's definitely not a great performance.
I thought that was a winnable game for them, and they drove straight down the field, inside the red zone, maybe inside the
they were inside the 5.
And fumble, and it's like they never got it back after that. Maybe they could have changed the whole game right there. And an improved Brilliant team beat Sumner Christian.
Brilliant is no longer an easy automatic win. They've really been good. They've been in the playoffs. I think they've been in the playoffs a couple of times the past few years.
They're not the 0-10 Brilliant we remember so well.
That's right. They're a little more brilliant now.
Kind of like Cold Springs. They were 0-10. Yeah, you can't just roll up and beat those teams anymore.
Yeah, Cold Springs is 3-1 now.
Yeah, this is one of their better seasons. All right, so let's talk about the best players of the week. We got a couple of guys go off here. Tyler Thomas, 313, 2 touchdowns.
That's pretty good. All in 25 rushes against Phil Campbell and Oatman's victory there, 28-0. So,
it's nice when you can turn to a guy like that. You can count on.
He just. Gosh, hard to put it into words. He dominated. 313 yards on the ground for one player, Tyler Thomas. That's incredible.
Poor Phil Campbell. Because, you can't stop that guy.
No.
And Winston County, it seems like every week they do this kind of thing. Landon Kelly, 5 total touchdowns and 103 passing, 62 rushing. Only ran 3 times and only threw 6 times and still had 5 touchdowns.
That's incredible. So he had 4 completions. 3 rushes, you're right. So that's 7 plays in which he could score a touchdown. And he got 5 touchdowns in those.
Oh, my gosh. Red Bay, that was a tough game for them. And then the guy that does it every week.
Yeah.
Talk about Griffin.
Yeah, Jaden Griffin. We've come to expect this now. 22 rushes, 284 yards, and 5 touchdowns against Hamilton. So far on the season, get ready for this, 814 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. That's through 4 games.
Wow.
So he just needs 186 yards this week.
For 1,000
already.
In 5 games. We've had a couple 2,000 guys, but that's pretty rare.
That's right. And he has a good chance of hitting 2,000 yards if he
stays
stays
it's more rare
healthy.
to see it at a bigger school like that.
Right.
Yeah, we see it like in 1A more often than not. But, that's incredible what he's doing over there. They know they can count on him. Right, so let's jump into next week's games, or this week's games. We're going to be here, so we'll have to do that. Jasper, boy, they need this one. They go like an hour and a half north, all the way to Athens. 3-1 Jasper at 3-0 Athens.
Yeah, Athens has had a really good season, and a couple of weeks ago, Athens beat Coleman 24-14. I also think Athens is coming off of a bye week.
Yeah.
Jasper, coming off of just a gut-wrenching loss, long trip. I've got Athens winning this one.
Yeah, me as well. The Jasper coach has a connection there. His boy played at Athens.
Really?
And was coached, the quarterback coach was Coach Smothers, that's now an assistant at Jasper.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, the connections are crazy there, but
small world.
Yeah, that's a long trip and a tough game for Jasper. Maybe they can bounce back. Maybe. They can win this game. All right, speaking, we just talked about Griffin and Dora, and they will be hosting Fultondale. Both are 2-2.
Yeah, they're both 2-2. Fultondale's schedule has been a little softer than Dora's. I think Dora's more battle-tested, and it's at Dora, so I've got the Bulldogs winning this one pretty handily.
Well, Fultondale trounced Fayette.
That's true.
And Dora barely beat them. Now, of course, those were one was home, one was away. So, right. But, I'm taking Dora at home as well. I think this might be another crazy game, but I think they'll just have too much offense for Fultondale.
It's weird, a team that runs the ball so much to have such high-scoring numbers, but that shows how good Jaden Griffin is.
Yes, they have attempted, I think, 7 passes this season.
They haven't needed them, really. Yeah. Not the last 2 games, at least.
No. Once they got into region play, they do. Yes, stick with what's working so far. All right, so also Good Hope at Cordova this week. One of the few games in the county along with Dora.
Good Hope has been surprisingly good.
3-0.
3-0. Cordova, they just got the big win off of Curry. They've got a little momentum, so this is going to be interesting. I've got Good Hope, but I think it's going to be fairly close.
Yeah, I think Cordova will keep games close, it seems like, until the end.
Right.
And hopefully they'll have better luck. I also took Good Hope in this one, but I think it'll be close as well, just the way they play. They won a 7-6 game over Fultondale this year. So Good Hope. You can stop them. All right, what about Curry at Hamilton? This new, revamped, improved Hamilton team.
Yeah, this Hamilton team's really impressive. I would expect that This will be a run-the-ball game. Both teams love to run it. Both have outstanding running backs, good quarterbacks, athletic players. But all in all, it's at Hamilton, and like you say, Hamilton's extremely improved. I've got the Aggies winning this one.
This might be back to the years when Hamilton was good and you couldn't win there.
Right.
But I think they're actually pretty good this year. They almost beat Dora last week. I went Hamilton as well. Now we have Oakman 2-1 at Huntsville 1-3.
Yeah, Huntsville, like we mentioned, coming off of their win against Carbon Hill. A little momentum. Oakman has to take that trip up into Coleman County. But I'm going to go with the Wildcats here. I think Oakman's got too much talent, too much Tyler Thomas.
Yes.
And that's going to be the
Just
impact.
give him the ball.
Just hand him the football.
He has over 600 yards, and he's actually averaging more than Griffin.
That's right.
But he's only played 3 games because the Carbon Hill game got moved. So I took Oakman as well. I think that'll be not close. Speaking of another Coleman County team, we have Carbon Hill going to Vinemont looking to bounce back.
Yeah, Vinemont, they're 3-1. They've looked good.
That's pretty good.
Carbon Hill's coming off of a frustrating loss to Huntsville. So I think because it's at Vinemont, I got Vinemont winning this one.
I do as well. And we have a lot of cross Coleman County games
Coleman
this week.
County, Walker
Good Hope,
County.
Huntsville, Vinemont. All right, so Summoning Christian, this is a tough one for them. They have to go to 3-1 Lynn. It seems like it's on the right track now.
Yeah, Lynn, they've got everything together now. Like you say, some of the injuries have healed up. So Summoning Christian, they're coming off of a bad loss to Brilliant. This is going to be probably pretty lopsided. I've got the Lynn Bears.
Yeah, Lynn's rolling right now. And maybe you'll see if you're a Summoning Christian fan going there, you might see a train go by.
You might see the
it's
train.
Really cool.
They've got the Norfolk Southern Railway.
It's the only time I really want to see a train every time I'm there. All right, so yeah, I got Lynn as well. Oh, another Coleman County team. Well, it's 4. Winston County 4-0 at Cold Springs. You mentioned earlier 3-1.
That's right. Cold Springs, good season. It seems like a lot of these teams that are usually down are having really good seasons.
And Vinemont.
It feels like that's the 4th or 5th time I've said a team that's usually not good going up. But they have to play Winston County. And all in all, Winston County is extremely talented. And I think they're going to be too talented for Cold Springs. So I've got Winston County winning this one. The Yellow Jackets.
I do as well. You know, that's the only place I've ever been stuck. My car got stuck in the mud at Cold Springs. They're playing Winston County, actually. And the Winston County players pushed my car out of the mud.
Well, that was sweet of them.
Yeah. It's always been close to my heart ever since then. So I think Winston County big there. I think their offense will continue. One of the bigger games this week, Hackleburg 3-0 at Addison 3-1.
This is a really interesting matchup, and this is a region game, so region
Big
implications here. It's at Addison. That'll help the Bulldogs. Addison, they've looked really good the past 3 weeks, got 3 straight wins. Hackleburg, undefeated, ranked. I went back and forth on this one.
Really?
I've got to go with Hackleburg, though, because I've seen a lot from Hackleburg, especially the way they just manhandled Lynn. So Hackleburg, I think, will win.
Yeah, I'm thinking hopefully Lynn they were injured.
That's right.
And they scored first that game, and it was not close after that. But Addison seems like a different team since that Winston County game.
I know it really,
what they've done.
It's good that loss was non-region.
Yeah, because they really didn't. When they beat Decatur Heritage, that was a big win. Kind of turned them around.
Yeah, flipped everything around.
I did pick Hackleburg, and I hope I'm wrong because I'd love to see Addison win that region. Because this was for the region championship last year.
That's right, and I wouldn't be shocked if it's for the region championship again.
Yeah, me as well. So Addison at home, that's going to be tough for Hackleburg, but I did pick what are they, Panthers, right?
Yeah, I think they're the Panthers.
Yeah. And the last game we're going to mention is Meek 1-3 at Waterloo 1-2.
This one I also struggled with a little bit.
Did you really?
I was tempted to go Waterloo for a minute, but then I got to researching, and it just seems like Meek's the better team. So I've got Meek.
I went to that game last year, and I asked the guy where Waterloo was, and he said at the very top of the state where it sticks out a little in the Mississippi.
Just a little bit, yeah.
He said that's where they're from, so that's a long trip for Meek.
I know. That's one of the reasons I thought it'd kind of be close. If it was at Meek, I think it'd be a lot different. But I'm going to have to go with the Tigers, like I said.
Yeah, me as well. Waterloo I think they had 13 players last year. Yeah. So I'm glad they already have a win, but I think Meek will handle this one pretty easily. All right, so we're going to change up a little bit here since we actually have 2 undefeated teams left after Jasper lost. Should be 3.
Should be 3.
Yeah,
but
2-point conversion away from being 3.
Yeah, you
and a field goal away from being 3.
Yeah, that was a tough loss, but.
So we have Corner and Winston County 4-0, 6 games left. Do you think either goes undefeated?
Corner has a shot. Winston County, they have Decatur Heritage. That'll be extremely tough, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen. So I say Corner probably has a better shot because of the schedule. Still, it's extremely hard to go 10-0. There's going to be distractions along the way. Somebody's going to come up and play really good football. So do they go undefeated? Probably not, but there's a good chance for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think either does because something will happen.
Something's going to happen.
Gonna have a bad week, have a bunch of fumbles, or somebody's injured. But if you look at the schedule, they might be favored.
It's favorable.
They could be favored
really
in all those games because Briarwood Christian is not what they used to be. I think they're winless this year, like teams you would expect. And Winston County, they have Lexington, and like you said, Decatur Heritage. That'll be a big game late in the season.
Right.
All right, so who are your top 5 teams this week?
Well, if we're going to...
pretty easy, right?
Yeah, I would say going to start at the bottom of 5. I've got Addison. The Bulldogs.
I figured you would.
The Bulldogs have really turned it around, like we said. The reason they're not higher is because there's really no room at the top. A lot of talented teams ahead of them. But Addison has an outstanding football team, and I'm happy to say that all the doubts I had about them after the first week of the season have been completely erased.
That's a good point. I had a lot of doubts after that. After being at that game, and it was just really lopsided from the beginning. I mean, the halftime, it was over. But, yeah, it's a different Addison team since. I have Dora, of course.
You have Dora for
the Jinx Dora. So 2 in a row, and they were both very close. They won both of them.
Yeah, they got some momentum going.
Yeah, and those were very tough games. They had a lot of trouble in both of them. So the defense needs to step up a little bit.
Right. Once the defense kind of gets in the rhythm, Dora is going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, because they can put up the points. All right, so I'm guessing our top 4 are about the same.
Yeah,
Who do you have it for?
Number 4, I got Jasper. So they're coming off
not the same.
Okay, they're not the same.
No,
okay, well they're coming off of a tough loss. Got a tough game this week, but really, what Coach Reeves has done at Jasper. Taking it and turning it around, the team that went 1-9 last year, turned them into 3-1. Definitely, he deserves a lot of credit, and I see a really good season coming up for Jasper.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you got to think they were 1-9. So even if you look before the season, I don't even know if I had 3 wins. So maybe 4. So, yeah, I know it was a disappointing loss, but they've had an incredible turnaround, really. I mean, they could easily win that game. But even if they don't, they could still win 6 games.
Who's your number 4?
I have Lynn.
Okay.
Lynn, which is kind of like Addison, just had a game in there that was ugly.
Right.
I'm blaming injury and just, how much do you want to push it in a game that isn't a region game at that point?
That's right.
And Hackleburg's good.
Yeah, you're playing Hackleburg. I was about to say that.
It's a really good team.
For all those reasons, Lynn's my number 3 team. So
we have somebody left out
somebody
here.
left out.
So my 3 is Oakman.
Okay.
And, they had that bad game a couple weeks ago.
Against
Hale County.
Was it Hale County? That's right.
And turned it around against Phil Campbell. And I see them going on a run here. That region's really interesting now that Gordo lost to Winfield last week.
Yeah, that was really surprising how that happened.
28-7.
So it's very strange to see if Oakman maybe can sneak up on somebody, pull off an upset.
Yes. Maybe a better chance than usual.
Right.
All right, so our top 2 probably?
Probably the same here. 2 is Winston County for me.
That's correct.
They've looked so good this season. Really big. Winston County was a team that I thought, there's a shot they could get left out of the playoff heading into the season. Now, I mean, I really don't have any doubts.
Yeah,
they're going to go.
Very easily win the region. And they're 5-5 last year. They had injuries and they were that close. And it seemed like they jumped over. They're taking care of these teams that aren't great, but they're not even leaving any doubt. It's over at halftime. That's what you're supposed to do.
And I know we've said this before, but as long as Winston County stays healthy, everything's in front of them.
Yeah, look really good. And number 1 is Corner.
Number 1 is Corner. Got to be Corner. And Corner, they're off this week, so there's not a shot of an upset here. So Corner, really, I don't have any words to say about them.
No.
Too. They've just been outstanding.
4-0 and just took care of Ramsey like it was nothing.
Took care of Ramsey. They've taken care of Winfield. Took care of Dora.
Got that big play to beat Winona. Yeah, they're just coming up big and everything. They have a week off and then Jacksonville in a non-region game. That'll be a tough game.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's a weird scheduling game, but it's got to be a connection there.
Right.
All right, so that concludes our top 5. So we can jump straight into college stuff here. You were not at the Alabama game,
no,
unless you flew back.
No, it was not at Wisconsin. That's a bit of a flight.
Camp Randall.
I mean, I don't understand why you would name your stadium Camp something, but I'm sure there's a backstory to it.
What about Camp Saban? You can name.
I like the sound of that.
But it looked like a great atmosphere, and it's funny they have the jump around thing.
Right.
And it was like the second that was over, poof, everybody
left.
Yeah,
because
it was an empty student section.
Yeah, at that point it was 35-10. Wisconsin was getting drilled. Or maybe
They
it
were
was
just
35-3 at that point. I don't remember, but still, it was,
that looked great in the stadium for a team down huge. You know,
that shows just how much they love jumping.
Yes, they waited for that.
They waited to jump
because it's the end of the third, in between third and fourth quarters.
Right.
Yeah, that was cool to see. But it was not a close game. What was the score again?
42-10.
Yeah, they took care of business.
How about Ryan Williams? I know you've heard it a million times. He's 17 years old, and he is looking like an
He's 14. He's 17.
He's 17.
Thought he jumped like 3 grades of school. It was so good.
No, he's 17 years old.
Yeah, and is showing. You imagine that guy playing high school ball right now?
Gosh, I would hate to be on. He would have been what, Saraland.
Yeah.
So,
and they're still number 1. I mean, he was 2-time football player of the year in the state. I don't think that's ever been done before.
Outstanding football.
And he would have been 3-time.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But you know why should he? I mean, he's making millions of dollars now, and he's going to make millions of dollars.
Yes,
in the
that was the right move.
Definitely.
Absolutely. He'll be in the NFL as a young man.
Yeah, 20
Very
years.
young.
I mean, he'd be 20 years old in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he could play right now. It's
Probably.
that good. All right, so Alabama is off this week.
That's right. Get a chance to rest up before playing number 2 Georgia. So
yeah, that's going to be everybody's healthy now.
Everybody's healthy.
The line is everybody's there. So
Right.
that'll be a huge game in a couple weeks. Did you watch the Auburn game?
I did not. I watched bits and pieces of it. I watched bits and pieces.
Well, they
of
were
it.
playing New Mexico.
I was too busy watching Georgia and Kentucky. That was a scare for the Bulldogs. But I was able to see a little bit of it. Hank Brown, he didn't look terrible. Looked better than Peyton Thorne.
Yes.
A lot better than Peyton Thorne.
No interceptions.
Of course, I think you could play better than Peyton Thorne did against California.
Yeah, got a rotator cuff injury, so I don't know. Still,
put you on the IR.
Maybe.
Put you on
still
the
might
IR.
have been better than Thorne. But it was nice to see somebody else in there. But the problem now is defense, it seems like to me. So this is going to be a tough thing. They have Arkansas this week. It's going to be very tough. Speaking of, we're going to Zak's picks. Is that one of your picks?
It is. We'll get to it very first since you brought it up. Mm-hmm. Arkansas at Auburn. What do you think about it?
I don't feel good about it.
You don't
I picked Auburn. Well, the defense. And they have kind of a quarterback that can dual threat. What's his name?
Taylor Green.
There you go. I knew he would know. So this Green guy is like the New Mexico guy, except better. So this is they had trouble with that guy. They couldn't stop him. It was like they were in prevent defense the whole game. It was what it looked like. They were back off the ball, just let them go straight down the field. So hopefully they've made some adjustments, and I did pick Auburn.
I had to go with Auburn too. Arkansas, they look really good first 2 games of the season. Blew out the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. Took Oklahoma State into double overtime.
Should have won that game.
And then last week against UAB, they just looked terrible. They won. I mean, Arkansas won, but against UAB, they only won by 10 points. They struggled. So for that reason, and also for the fact that it's at Jordan-Hare, I'm going to go with Auburn.
Yeah. Auburn just hasn't won a game that's mattered, I remember in 2013, I would call it hug a stranger game because you're so happy you'll hug people around you. Right. You don't know. I think if I tried to hug a stranger now, I'd get punched or kicked out of the stadium because there's just no fun there. You know, there's nobody's having fun. It's tough to see. Ready for this to turn around.
Well, maybe it will.
Yeah.
Maybe it will.
I don't know if anybody's going. I don't recommend hugging a stranger. By the way, in most cases,
depends on how bad they smell.
Yes.
All right. USC at Michigan. We're going to step out of the SEC, go to the Big Ten here. USC is a 5.5-point favorite. It's at Michigan, but Michigan really hasn't looked good this season.
No, and I thought they'd be favored at home. That tells you how much they've fallen off. It's a national championship team.
Most of the players and most of the coaches.
Everybody's gone. Yeah,
Everybody's
this is not. Yeah, this happens. You lose everything, which I guess it was worth it for Michigan to win the championship.
For them to win a championship.
Yes. But I'm not impressed with USC either. But I picked them to win that one.
Yeah, I've got USC as well. They look really good against LSU first week of the season. Miller Moss is played really good at quarterback. I think it's going to be close, but Michigan does not have the offense to keep up with USC, so I'm going to go with the Trojans. So we're going to stay outside of the SEC for one more minute. Utah at Oklahoma State. Utah's the 12th ranked team in the country. Oklahoma State ranked 14th. Big 12 matchup now. What are you thinking?
I can't pick Gundy in a game like that. I like Willingham, but I think Utah's just better than them. I've been unimpressed with Oklahoma State. Now they'll win by 20, right?
That's right.
Yes.
But
now, I know you like Oklahoma State.
I do.
It's one of your favorite teams.
I always liked Mike Gundy. I always liked him. He's a good coach. And I have one method for picking Oklahoma State. It seems like it never fails. If they're favored, don't pick them. If they're an underdog, pick them. Because they seem to pull the upset. I always get upset.
So you're picking them to lose at home?
I'm picking Oklahoma State to win. Utah's a 2-point favorite.
Oh, even at Oklahoma State?
Utah is a 2-point favorite. Utah.
I knew you'd finagle it to where you picked them.
That's right. That's right. But Utah,
reason.
Utah hasn't looked impressive either. They struggled last week against inferior opponents. So,
Utah State.
Right, Utah State. I mean, I know it's a rivalry game.
But is it really?
Still, it's Utah State.
No way. But I am going with Utah.
All right, so we disagree.
So we got that one different.
I don't think we disagreed on any of the high school stuff, so it feels good to finally disagree. Next, we're going to go to Florida at Mississippi State.
Oh.
How terrible are either of these teams?
Mississippi State, wow. Toledo. Was that at Toledo?
That was in Mississippi State. They got beat.
Oh, my gosh.
What was the final score? They got trounced.
It was not close. 3 touchdowns.
Trounced.
It's 38-17, maybe?
Because I remember I asked my dad how Mississippi State was doing, and Dad said, oh, well, it's 21-3. I said, well, that's not terrible. Oh, no, Toledo's winning.
Toledo.
What? How is Toledo winning this? But Toledo just dominated Mississippi State. Florida got manhandled by a Texas A&M team playing with his backup quarterback at the Swamp. Florida, they put in their freshman DJ Lagway, their backup quarterback. He still couldn't help. So it's really been a disaster for both of these teams. Florida's already trying to raise money to fire Billy Napier. Mississippi State, first-year head coach in Jeff Lebby. I doubt he's going anywhere at this point. But who do you pick?
Slow start.
Yeah, how do you pick somebody in this?
Yeah, I don't know. I took Florida. I guess I flipped a coin because, I mean, it's just so ugly. And for them, the funny thing is when Auburn plays them, they're like 5th in the country, and they don't play them for years. And the next time they play them, they'll have a new coach, and they'll be ranked 5th again.
A little off subject. Let's say Billy Napier does get fired. Who do you think Florida would go after?
I think they go after Nick Saban. No, I don't know.
They might try. They might try.
No.
They might try.
You got to go for Kiffin. That's
really?
a home run hire. I mean, they won't. He shouldn't go.
If I were
they
Kiffin,
would go for him,
never
right?
leave
No,
this.
He's in a great spot. Look what he's done.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
Gus Malzahn.
That would be smart.
He's done very well at UCF.
Well, that would be interesting.
He's got them UCF is one of the front runners to win the Big 12 and go to the playoffs under Gus Malzahn. So if I were Florida and I fired Billy Napier, I'd go after Gus Malzahn. Of course, there are other names that you could go after. Like I've heard Deion Sanders, a Florida State graduate going to Florida.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
I don't see why he would do that, but who knows?
Gus at Florida would be a very interesting take.
It's a good take.
Like to see that.
If Arkansas, looks a little better this year, I would say Bobby Petrino may be a candidate.
That could have been the whole. Yeah.
So it could be very interesting how this works out. And for all we know, Florida may turn it around, look great, and Billy Napier saves his job.
Shocking.
I'm picking Florida. I'm picking Florida here, not because I think they're going to turn it around, just because Mississippi State's terrible.
It's going to be close.
And the final game we have, this shows you what a down week it's been. Our final game, Tennessee at Oklahoma. I know it's a top 15 matchup, but I'm going to go ahead and give you my pick here. Tennessee's going to win by 30.
Yeah. 30?
30.
I don't know about that.
Tennessee could
and Oklahoma?
I don't think it matters.
What's the line?
7 for Tennessee.
Yeah, that's a big line for at Oklahoma. Undefeated Oklahoma.
I don't think Oklahoma's very good because they struggled against Tulane last week. The week before that, they struggled against Houston.
Yes, they really. Yeah, they could have lost that Houston game. Houston's not a good team.
They probably should have. In fact, if they hadn't gotten a safety with 5 minutes left, I think they probably would have.
I think that was the difference, right? Yeah, 2-point win. Tennessee was up 65-0 at halftime against somebody last week.
They were playing Kent State.
Yeah.
And they were winning 30-0 when they called an onside kick. So that's fun. But Tennessee,
yeah, I think they're the real deal. I'm picking them as well.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. Tennessee could win the national championship. They're that good.
What about a Tennessee-Texas championship game?
Too much orange.
Yeah, that really is.
Too much orange.
Yeah. That's the wrong shade of orange as well.
Well, that's all I've got. Only 4 games. Kind of a down week of football, but maybe it'll wind up being good. It's always the down weeks you have to watch out for.
Yes. Yeah, and watch the Auburn game. That could be interesting as well. If you can sit through it.
If you could endure it.
I might need to mow the grass. When
You
things
might
are going bad, I go mow the grass. And
Might as well.
It needs mowing.
Yeah, we had a
actually.
lot of rain, so you
Yeah.
need to get to work on
Lot
that
of
yard.
Rain. It rained all week. All right, so hopefully those fields are back in playing condition this week. All right, so that wraps up our show. It's good to be back.
It is.
After we missed that 1 week. We won't miss any more.
Good.
Get my fingers crossed.
Yeah, just knock on
I would
wood.
knock on wood, but I'm not touching the table. So that wraps up our show this week. And I want to thank again Bevill State for sponsoring. And have you seen their new gym lately? Have you driven by?
I have not been in there
It
yet.
is incredible.
Good.
Yeah, it's shaping up. They spent last year away from it. The basketball team will be back this year. And it's going to be a great atmosphere, hopefully, with a
Good,
brand new state-of-the-art gym, which they've never had.
That's right. You know, their last gymnasium they had, it's all right, but I'm glad to see an upgrade.
Yes. Yeah, they needed it. All right, so like and subscribe if you enjoyed what you saw. I want to thank Jank for producing, and we'll see you next week.